In this video, I will review for you the KATADYN Pocket. I bought this KATADYN Pocket water filter for use when I go backpack hiking, camping for days out in the state forest where I don't follow hiking trails. So I need something high quality and reliable, well engineered. Just excuse the black electrical tape here. I've just taped where I've got some contact details here. Now the KATADYN Pocket water filter has been described by many as a Rolls Royce of water filters. It best suited my requirements, but it may not suit your requirements. And to describe something as best only is meaningful where you personally have a defined set of functional user requirements. So what may be best for me may not be best for you. But having said that, the KATADYN Pocket water filter is definitely a well-engineered, reliable, high-quality product. Now back to user requirements. You may have user requirements, for instance, where you are going hiking for 1 or 2 days with a group of friends, say 10 friends, and that every one of your friends is carrying their own personal water filter, and you're following well-established hiking trails where there are known water sources. In that case, there are alternative sources of water supply. Then you may not need something very expensive. For instance, there are flexible water bottle squeeze type filters that may suit your purpose. Use it once or twice or 3 times, and if the plastic water bottle tears, breaks because the seams breaks, or because it is very difficult to squeeze after a while because the filter cartridge becomes clogged up, then maybe it's just a case of throwing that away and buy another one because it's cheap. Then there are the mini filters where you have to bring yourself to the water body, let's say a stream, and you suck from the water filter with a little straw. Now that may work very well for you because it is fast and the filter cartridge is cheap. But the problem with those types of filtration system is that when the filter starts clogging up, it can be very difficult to suck because you're trying to suck with your mouth. Secondly, you can't actually store water because you have to suck with your mouth. So it's not great if you need to supply water and store water, say 1 liter, half a liter, and then take it away. Another type is the gravity filter bags. These gravity filter bags, you have to fill them with water from a stream, for instance, or a pool of water, and then hang them up and let them drip downwards past the filter cartridge. So it could take a long time to filter a little amount because it's working purely by gravity without any external pressure applied. So it's slow, and if the cartridge gets clogged up again, it will be even slower. Then you have the hand pumps. There are the hand pumps like this where you pump vertically downwards, and there are those you pump sideways. But I've seen in the majority of these products that the materials used are plastic. I've seen users complain that the plastic handles or pivoting points break after a period of use. So you've got reliability problems. I've also seen plastic water bottle types where you compress downwards, you squeeze down, which essentially forces the water past a cartridge. But when the filter gets clogged up again, it becomes very difficult to squeeze, and in fact water escapes from sides of the water bottle. So the throughput capacity of those designs is not very high. Now in this video, as I mentioned these other types of product designs, I will not be mentioning product names. There is also the ultraviolet light purifiers. These ones are pens where you have to use a battery and you insert the pen into the water, and it takes time for the ultraviolet light to kill the viruses. Now these pens do not filter sediments. They essentially are for killing bacteria and viruses. Unfortunately, I have seen users say that the pens have been unreliable because it's an electronic system, and if you take it into harsh environments and anything that is electronic and requires batteries, you're going to have to be carrying extra batteries. That's extra weight, and electronics are subject to sensitivity to temperature, water, humidity, etc. You can also boil the water. That is very safe, but it takes a long time, and you can of course use purifying tablets that will kill bacteria and viruses. Now, when I said before which particular product design is best suited to you is determined by your use requirements. If you were a special forces operator in enemy territory, you're not going to use a gravity bag. You can't sit there and wait for water to drip, and you will also unlikely use a squeeze bag, because in the harsh environment you're in and the kind of rigorous activity you are involved in, chances are the plastic bags will tear, and it may not be safe for you to expose yourself for long periods of time at a water body sucking from a straw because you're exposed. And in circumstances like that, you may need something like this, where it is a highly ruggedized, well-engineered design. You can extract water quickly with the KATADYN pocket and extract yourself from that exposed location to a safer area where you can drink from your water bladder. So I don't like to say this is the best for you, because the best for you is only determined once you've decided the modes of use and operation that you see yourself using a water filter or water purifier. I'm happy to talk to you if you have questions or comments to make about what types of technologies are better suited to your use. In my review of this product, I'll explain to you how the ball valves work in this device. There are two ball valves. They're located in the bottom module of this water filter system. I will show you where they are, what they are, how they work, and also how you need to inspect them to make sure they are operational. Because if the ball valves are malfunctioning, then the device is not working effectively. The KATADYN Pocket water filter is made in Switzerland. When you buy it, it comes in a box like this, and the box contains the following items. It contains a user manual, the water filter system itself, and inside a water filter cartridge is included. It includes an inlet water hose and attachments. It includes an outlet hose, a black carry bag, some maintenance items. I'll explain each of these items in detail with you later. I also bought one extra KATADYN Pocket filter cartridge. In the box, it contains two scouring pads to clean the ceramic, an outlet hose and accessories, and the ceramic filter cartridge. Let's start a review of the KATADYN Pocket water filter by looking at the technical specifications. So it uses a ceramic pump filter cartridge that has 0.2 micron pore size. This 0.2 micron pore size allows it to eliminate bacteria up to 99.9999%, Klebsiella pterygiena, and protozoan cyst, 99.9% of Giardia and Cryptosporidium. Because the pore size is 0.2 microns, it is larger than many viruses, hence it does not filter out viruses. The cartridge has a flow rate of 1 liter per minute, which to me is a reasonable flow rate. Each replacement filter cartridge can handle up to 50,000 liters of water. Obviously that depends on how nasty the water is. The water filter system is 550 grams in weight, so it is not light. But if you need something that is well engineered, robust, not just made of plastic, then you have to tolerate the weight. Its dimensions are 24 centimeter long by 6 centimeter diameter. The guarantee for this product is 20 years. The materials used are aluminium for the top and bottom bodies and a stainless steel rod for the hand pump. It uses a silicone as the lubricant, and there is in fact also, I believe, a silicone O-ring and ceramic cartridge. Now let's have a look at the water filter system itself. There's a water inlet nozzle on the bottom and a water outlet nozzle at the top. I've just used a red cap on the top to distinguish the outlet so that I do not cause cross-contamination of the inlet and outlets. Let's open it up. The assembly is a bottom module, a top module, a hand pump, and an external black plastic. It's very ruggedized. To open it up, unscrew the bottom This is a machine aluminum body. Then the plastic external body. That middle portion, it's the replaceable cartridge. This is the ceramic filter body. Unscrew it. And the hand pump separates from the filter cartridge. The hand pump has a nice rounded top for comfort when you pump down. Everything on this hand pump assembly is machine aluminum except for the rod. That looks like it's a stainless steel rod, because there'll be significant pressure downwards when you're pumping. They've used stainless steel, so that's good. There's a rubber O-ring here. The ceramic cartridge is one entire assembly. There's nothing that you can remove. And each cartridge has a serial number embossed on it. There is what appears to me also a O-ring. I think it's actually a silicone O-ring. It has to be a compressible O-ring, because when the plastic body joins and the bottom is screwed in, the top and bottom compress this black plastic body, and it has to compress against the O-ring for a watertight seal. Now I want to explain to you how the water flows. So that's the inlet nozzle. Water flows in here, and you see inside this hole there's actually a steel ball bearing valve. The steel ball bearing is kept within a certain limit of movement by a steel pin, which is screwed in and out through this Allen key head. There is another ball bearing valve here, and that ball bearing is kept within its limits of movement by a Phillips head stainless steel screw. So what happens is, when you pull the pump upwards, water is sucked in through this inlet nozzle, and that suction lifts the steel ball bearing from the bottom of the hole. Water then flows the inside of the cartridge, and the inside of the cartridge is sealed. So when this hand pump is pulled upwards, it causes a negative pressure in here, and that pulls water through the inlet nozzle, lifts the ball bearing valve up, so water enters the internal sealed chamber. And when the hand pump is in the topmost position, the internal sealed cylindrical chamber is filled with unfiltered water. And when you push down on the hand pump, the water in that sealed internal chamber is pushed downwards. It now goes down, and because the steel ball bearing by gravity falls down into the hole, it seals that inlet nozzle. The downward pumping action will cause water to flow downwards, and the steel ball bearing at the bottom will be forced to seal the inlet nozzle hole, and instead there's a hole on the side. That hole will allow the water to flow under positive pressure up through this hole, because the steel ball bearing in there will be pushed upwards, causing the hole to open, and that water will flow out through this gap around the bottom of the cartridge. And if you look at it, this plastic body is on the outside. Under the downward positive pressure, will be pushed up to the external of the ceramic filter cartridge. That water which passes through the ceramic cartridge will then exit out the outlet nozzle as clean filtered water. So this is how this works. And if you look at it, every part of the filtration system is simple and highly ruggedized. I will now show you how you actually use the water filter. Inlet nozzle, connect to inlet hose. Now the inlet hose is much longer than the outlet hose. You just have to make sure that you do not mix the two up. The inlet hose has a sponge. You put the sponge about 100 ml away from the bottom. Because the sponge will capture air pockets, it will allow it to float upwards a bit. This is the sinker weight, and inside there's a microfilter sieve. The weight will hold it down in the water, and it will also prevent big objects from entering, and the microfilter will capture and block out smaller objects. Next, you want the outlet hose. The outlet hose is put away in a little bag that prevents it from cross-contamination with the inlet hose, which is important to keep note of. Outlet hose is very short. Connect to the outlet nozzle. Make sure that it's adequately pushed in, and then there's a little clip. This clip allows you to clip onto the edge of a cup or container or bottle. Then you take the inlet hose and the pre-filter element, put it into the water source. This would be your river, your stream, your lake, and now I can start pumping. I think you can see water's now coming out. There you go. And the pumping action is quite smooth and it's not tedious. The water source is nearly empty, it's draining. So you see now the bowl of filtered water is here, and the bowl of water source is down. It's a very simple device. On the base there's actually a rubber ring. This allows it to grip better on surfaces. And as I said, if you look at the components, everything is metal except for the plastic shell. It makes it very easy to use, and because it uses steel ball bearing valves, you have incredible reliability. Now, how would you disconnect the system? Well, first of all, I would take out the outlet hose, and let's say I've dried it. Then I've put it back into the outlet hose plastic bag to avoid cross-contamination. Next, I remove the inlet hose. Just pull. Now I want to show you how to maintain it. So I've disassembled the water filter system. As I said, water enters in the system from the external of the ceramic shell and passes inside and upwards out through this nozzle. So where it gets dirty is the external shell of the ceramic filter. When the pumping action gets difficult, or when you can visibly see that the external of the ceramic filter is dirty and clogged up, then use the scouring pad supplied. Just gently scour and scrape the sides of the ceramic filter to remove the debris and dirt. Then wash it under clean water. If you are attempting to wash this cartridge whilst you're outdoor camping because the filter has clogged up and it's difficult to pump, then I suggest that you take this to a stream, put your thumb onto the outlet nozzle. After if you scrape the external of the cartridge clean, dip this into the running water and just use your hand to rub off the debris and dirt. It's okay that it gets in here because in there, that is where unfiltered water also goes. Where you do not want it to go is through the outlet nozzle. If you have used this cartridge over many trips and regularly scoured and cleaned the cartridge, then what can happen is that the diameter of the cartridge can be reduced because parts of the ceramic are being scraped off. Then what you need to do is to use this inspection tool which comes in the box and just gently slide it if you can slide this across the entire diameter, then what it means is the material of the ceramic cartridge has been reduced to the point where there's not adequate thickness of the ceramic to do a proper filtration of the water. So at that time, you will then need to replace this with a new cartridge. As part of maintenance, after you've cleaned the cartridge and dried the cartridge, all the components, what you need to do next is apply some KATADYN lubricant. I would apply the lubricant in several areas, specifically around the O-ring. So apply the lubricant around the O-ring. Also apply the lubricant around the top of this gasket, and finally apply the lubricant around this black O-ring. So 3 places: on this O-ring on bottom of the hand pump piece, around this gasket, and thirdly around the black O-ring. I hope this video has helped you understand the KATADYN Pocket as a water filter system, and as I explained earlier, what may work for me as the best solution may not be the best solution for you, because the best solution for you is only determined by your specific user requirements. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and let me know. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, let me know as well. If you want to have a chat about different water filtration or purification systems that may work better for you based on your own user requirements, put them in the comments and let's have a chat. I'm happy to see if I can help. So if you've enjoyed this video and found it informative, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more and to help me grow the channel as well. Thank you for your help.